Greetings, my scattered brothers and sisters in the Lord. Trust you know the Lord is with you wherever you find yourself scattered today, and that you know that his presence with you is more than enough for whatever you might face today. We are at the empty tomb. The beloved disciple and Peter have gone home, and Mary is still there, and she's in tears, and she looks in the tomb, and she sees the place where Jesus had laid, and she sees two angels, and one is at the feet of Jesus where he was laid, and the other is at his head. Jesus obviously isn't there. And the angels ask Mary, "Woman, why are you crying?" Mary turns around, and all of a sudden there's Jesus standing behind her, and she doesn't recognize Jesus. She thinks he's a gardener, and Jesus says to her the same thing that the angel said: "Woman, why are you crying? Who are you looking for?" And Mary, thinking that Jesus is the gardener, says that she is here and wondering if he took the body of Jesus, where have you taken him that I may go get him? And then Jesus says to her, "Mary," calls her by name. And when Mary hears Jesus call her by name, she immediately recognizes him. And she cries out, "My teacher." And then Jesus tells her not to hold fast to him, but to go to his brothers and to give them the news that Jesus is going to his Father and their Father, his God and their God. And so Mary goes and reports to the disciples everything that just happened, everything that Jesus said. Now, there's a few things I want us to pause over today. So the first one, Mary didn't recognize Jesus till he called her by name. But as soon as he called her by name, she knew who he was. She recognized him, and she was just overjoyed. Reminds us of the Good Shepherd passage, that the sheep know the Good Shepherd, the sheep know the voice of the Good Shepherd, and the Good Shepherd calls them by name. And so we see that playing out here. And my prayer for you, my prayer for all of us, is that we constantly hear Jesus call us by name and that we recognize him. The second thing that's really interesting is that Jesus tells Mary to go tell, quote unquote, "my brothers." And so now we see that through the death of Jesus and the resurrection, that the disciples are no longer considered simply disciples. They're no longer friends even, but now they are my brothers. And so through Jesus going to the cross and dying, now we see the disciples have become children of God. And that's such good news for all of us. And because of what God has done in Jesus, we too can become children of God. Third thing, a little bit confusing here. Jesus tells Mary not to hold fast to him, that he has not yet ascended or returned to the Father. And it almost sounds like Mary has kind of interrupted Jesus' journey of return. And so Mary let go of me so that I can get on with it and get to the Father. But that's probably not the best way to think about it. I don't think Mary kind of caught Jesus by surprise or somehow interrupted his return. I think that what's actually going on here is Jesus is basically saying, "Mary, don't settle for this. Don't settle for resurrection appearances." That the mission is for Jesus to return to the Father, to ascend, not just resurrect, so that the Holy Spirit can be given. And so that's the intent here, is to realize that the resurrection appearances, good as they are, they're temporary, and good as they are, they're actually second best. That the mission is for Jesus to return, ascend to the Father, so that the Holy Spirit is given. And so through the Spirit, there is the ability to constantly abide in the presence of Jesus and the presence of the Father. That through the Spirit, Jesus and the Father abide constantly with the disciples. So, Mary, don't hold fast to me now. Don't settle for this. I have yet to ascend so that the Spirit is given, and you can know through the Spirit my constant presence, my constant abiding. So much to chew on today. We'll even return to this on the next episode. But for now, wherever you find yourself scattered, rejoice that Jesus is risen and calls us by name. Rejoice that we are now brothers and sisters of Jesus, children of God. And rejoice that Jesus completed the mission, and that instead of, kind of second best resurrection appearances, we're actually able to abide in the constant presence of the Father and the Son through the Holy Spirit. That's great news for wherever you're scattered, because you're His child, we're His children, and we know His presence. God bless, and have a great day.